James Lewis Jackson, 47, was executed by lethal injection on 7th of February 2007 in Huntsville, Texas, for the murders of his wife and 2 stepdaughters. James and Sharon Jackson married in 1995. Sharon had 2 teenage daughters, Sansaria, who was called Sonny, and Ericka. James Jackson's heavy drug use and inability to hold a job produced problems in the marriage. On 8 April 1997, when Ericka, 18, came home from high school, Jackson, then 37, asked how she felt about her mother's plans to divorce him. After Ericka expressed ambivalence, Jackson strangled her with his hands. About 30 minutes later, Sonny, 19, came home from college. Jackson asked her the same question. Unaware that Jackson had just killed her sister, Sonny answered that she loved him and wanted to remain in his life. As she attempted to hug him, he strangled her. Jackson then put the 2 women in their beds. Later, Sharon, 39, called and asked for a ride home from work. Jackson picked her up and brought her back to the apartment. He told Sharon that the girls were sleeping. After Sharon rejected his attempts to reconcile their problems, he strangled her. Before leaving the apartment, Jackson left behind a note reading, "I love Sharon, Sonny, Ericka. I could not take care of my family. I don't have a job. I gave them back to God. He and they will understand. James." The following morning, Sharon's sister, Sabrina Farley, received a call from one of Sharon's co-workers who was expecting Sharon to pick her up for work. Farley and her mother, Ethel, went to the Jacksons' apartment and found the 3 dead women. Sheriff's deputies were called out to the apartment in northern Harris County. They found Jackson's note and also observed that Ericka was nude from the waist down. While deputies were investigating the scene, James Jackson drove up. He was taken to the sheriff's office where he confessed to the murders, giving the account related above. At his trial, prosecutors presented evidence that following the murders, Jackson pawned his wife's sewing machine and used the money to buy drugs. Jackson had a previous felony conviction in 1989 for shooting his children's grandfather. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He served 4.5 years before being paroled in 1994. He was still on parole at the time of the killings. A jury convicted Jackson of the murders of Sansaria and Ericka Jackson in January 1998 and sentenced him to death. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals affirmed the conviction and sentence in December 2000. All of his subsequent appeals in state and federal court were denied. In an interview from death row the week before his execution, Jackson denied committing the murders. He said that he spent that entire evening out, gambling and getting high, and did not come home. He also said his wife had no plans to end their relationship. Jackson said that the note he left behind was a prayer written weeks earlier, asking God to protect his family. His lawyer said that his confession was coerced. In the interview, Jackson also said that he was relieved that his appeals were exhausted and that he was ready to face God. "I'm going to embrace it with open arms because I'm tired of this place," he said, "and I just want to be reunited with my family." Jackson's siblings and friends attended his execution. None of the victims' family were present. Jackson smiled as his guests entered the viewing room. "Thank you to my family. I love you, each and every one of you. This is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter for you and I, together forever. I'm ready to roll. Let's get this party started," Jackson said to them in his final statement. Jackson also referred to Harris County as Sodom and Gomorrah, 2 ancient cities that God destroyed by fire, according to the book of Genesis. His last words were, "Warden, murder me." The lethal injection was then started. Jackson laughed at a sign language gesture made by one of his guests, made a gurgling sound, and died. He was pronounced dead at 6:18 p.m.